I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with the cattle market summary for the week ending July the 20th, where somebody peaked on that cattle on feed report. That's just almost impossible that they could get it that perfect, but absolutely neutral and no reason to worry about it anymore. Just go on right down the road because it didn't sway one way or the other at all. Let's look at the board, the way it performed last week. August live cattle futures, Monday was up 237, Tuesday down 50 cents, Wednesday up 252, Thursday down a nickel, and Friday up 2 cents, with your August live cattle contract ending the week at 108.92, up $4.37 for the week. That's a big gain. October ended the week at 110.25, up $2.88. August feeder cattle, Monday was up 165, Tuesday down $1.10, Wednesday up 317. You remember that big Wednesday gain that gave all those Wednesday feeder cattle auctions a big shot in the arm. Thursday was unchanged or steady, and Friday down 77 cents, with your August feeder cattle contract ending the week at 153.67, up $2.95 for the week. And as well as our cash feeder cattle markets have been performing, we're still lagging a little bit behind the board on our feeder cattle, because on the average our 800-pound steers are not averaging over 150, and we've got our spot feeder cattle contract almost 154. You got to October, your feeder cattle contract sitting at 154.77, gaining $3.42 for the week. Your fat cattle trade, it was very quiet all week. You know, we talked about having a big standoff with nobody really wanting to blink there. Wednesday on the Fed Cattle Exchange, we did have that pen sell at $1.12, which was $1 better than anything that we saw last week. And so we kind of knew things were going to be pretty good. And then on Thursday, we did have just a dab of live trade in there at 114, so that really gave things a shot in the arm. And on Friday, we knew something was going to happen. They had that stumbling block of cattle on feed report, which side of the report the trade was going to be on. We knew they needed to buy some cattle. They ended up waiting late in the day. Everybody was saying they're going to bid the temperature, and maybe your packers would have liked to have bid the temperature as hot as it got, but things got a whole lot hotter than what they really wanted to do. With we did see some Kansas trade that showed up before the USDA went to bed there on Friday at 114. That would be $3 to $4 higher, and probably going to be quite a bit of 114 out there. We didn't see any reported in Texas or Colorado or anywhere, but did see some in Kansas, and enough to really establish a market. So 114 is the number, better than what most of us thought it was going to be, but sure, pretty good market there. But in the northern plains, your number was 180. Pretty well widespread dressed market of 180 in Iowa and Nebraska. That's mostly $5 higher than the previous week. Awfully good fat cattle market, but they had to do it the way that the board was and everything, and just settling in pretty good. Box beef cutout values for the week on your average trade for last week: choice cuts 204.32, down $2.16. Select average trade for last week 196.71, down 80 cents, with a real narrow choice select spread of $7.61. But the market on that coming off a little bit is helping the volume. We did see record exports again last week. The exports are soaring, some of the highest we've seen in 15, 16 years. And a noticeable rise in trade to South Korea, and I thought that Trump had made those guys mad, but evidently not. So having pretty good trade with them. Let's talk about that cattle on feed report a little bit more. We saw that your July 1st inventories were forecasted to be, by the average of the analyst guess, at 104.3. That's exactly where they came in at. Your June placements, not a very big number, but it was compared to a huge number the same June last year. So 101.3 is what they guessed. That's exactly where it come in. And marketing's at 100.8 is exactly what it come in at. And I don't know that I've ever seen them notch a report all the way down to the tenth of percent there like they did this time. But excellent job by your analysts there of pegging that cattle on feed report. Should not shake anything up on the board or anything else at all. Look at your placements by state in June. You see that Texas was down 4% compared to last year. Kansas was up 3% compared to June of last year. Nebraska down 2%. Iowa up 7%. And Colorado up 16% compared to last June. And we should probably think that because Colorado's going through a big drought. They're awfully dry through Colorado. Just come up through there again up here at Little America in Old Cheyenne, taking the kids on a little late summer trip here. But let's look at your feeder cattle markets for last week. Real-time index ended the week at 147.54. That's based on an 800-pound steer, or the average from 7 to 8.99. That's 55 cents higher than it closed the previous week. But actually your cash feeder trends in your auction markets were a little bit higher than that. It started out the week kind of lower because it's all in your comparisons to the previous week. So we started out kind of lower, but then turning $3 to $5 higher, starting out on Wednesday with that big sharply higher feeder cattle board that we saw on Wednesday, and then that turned in on your cash feeder cattle auctions and then finished the week that way. But pretty much 3 to 5 higher on your feeder cattle in your auctions late in the week, and that's it's a good gain there. But still, we can see more gains here and still not be in any trouble being on the wrong side of the board, because your August feeder cattle ending the week on top of 153.5, going towards 154. So we can still see some more gains on these yearling feeder cattle. Let's look at a couple individual quotes late in the week. Bluegrass Stockyards in Richmond, Kentucky. Look at this. They had a great sale there on Friday. A lot of load lots, but one load, 65 head, weighed 874 pounds at 152.5, and that's in the city of Richmond, downtown there on Friday in Kentucky. Now let's look at a place where they have some seed corn caps and some farmer feeder orders. Lexington, Nebraska, 122 head of 887 pound steers bring 157. That's a look at your week's markets on the road here on Family Vacation. We'll talk to you next week.